I would have said to you a month ago or 6 weeks ago, Dolphins, if they win out, I mean, they're going to the playoffs. They seemed in disarray. Don't know what was going on in the locker room. He had so many storylines here, but they're a good team. And Brian Hartline, Dolphins wide receiver, joining us on the show. Brian, if I said to you 8 weeks ago, you guys are going to be a playoff team, what would you have said?
I would have been surprised. For me, this is my 5th year, and this is the most talented team I've been on. And, I've been a part of a bunch of seasons, either 6, 7, 8-win seasons. And, to have the most talented team that I've been on, I think there was no reason why we couldn't put ourselves in position to make a playoff run. There's a lot of speculation about disarray and all the problems, but really the problems were outside the locker room. There was no problems, and there wasn't like there was teammates that were fighting. There wasn't like there was anything like that. I mean, the biggest problem was just trying to, mend the O-line and have some guys step up, and they did right away. So to me, I wouldn't have been surprised.
When you go out in Miami, you're away from the team and people just see you. What is the topic of conversation now?
Well, it probably changes weekly. I think if you lose, then the season's over, and you should fire everybody. And then if you win, you're winning the Super Bowl. So I think that right now it's the New England talk and going to the playoffs, and people are excited, and that's it's good to see, and we're glad we're providing that. But with a lot of excitement, there's always going to be a big letdown. So we understand it goes both ways.
But how long did it get to the point where you weren't asked about Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin, that you were actually asked about football?
Winning takes care of all that. To my mind, I think that once we started to get back on the right track, people started focusing more on the team atmosphere. Every now and then you'll get actually probably a couple weeks ago, you still get is Richie coming back? Is Richie coming back? But now it's, now it's just about the team.
I'm going to ask you one more question about it, then I'm going to move on to other things. Biggest misconception about the Martin Incognito story is what, for those on the outside looking in?
Well, I think it was a shame that everyone just wanted to be the first person to report things, and the full story wasn't even out there, and there were so many preconceived notions of what it was and who was who and what Richie stood for and what Martin stood for. So it was just a shame that people tarnished things so poorly right off the bat instead of just letting it play out and learning the details, and I think it all came to the surface. But it was just unfortunate the first week or two to see grown adults jump on such a bandwagon that didn't really exist. So it was just a shame. It was a shame overall.
I lied. I may ask you another question here.
My point I got to
was,
ask you about your ankle too, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, but you play. I mean, that's just it. This time of the season, Brian, you just play. I got a banged up ankle. I'm #warrior, just so you know.
#warrior. There you go.
But I thought, and then I learned more information about it, that Incognito and Martin were friends, and that this was back and forth, and these guys actually had a good relationship. It was those of us trying to interpret what was being said, and we're not on the inside. And the stuff that is said in the locker room, stuff said to other teammates, we, of course, we're in shock there. I think that was the key with it that I learned is no rush to judgment. Let me get both sides of this. And the more I found out, the more I realized this was two friends who had a lot of fun, and I think that he was probably a mentor to Jonathan Martin. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean that was the toughest part is that that's what we saw, and everyone was judging everybody in the locker room, saying there's no leadership, and who are these other players allowing this to happen? Like you're judging my character. So it's like we saw friends. Whenever I saw John, like we said before, all this is out there, but whenever I saw John, he was with Richie, and I'll tell you what, if my friends that are my close friends use things that I said to them to get spite and get reaction out of them against me in the media, I would look the biggest, prick in the world too. So it's just unfortunate.
He's Brian Hartline, the Dolphins wide receiver. All right, favorite white guy cliches. You ready?
I love it.
Okay, high motor?
Absolutely.
Do you have a high motor?
I have to. You're not fast. You're just a high motor, high intensity guy.
But you are fast.
I'm an overachiever.
Are you deceptively fast, Brian?
Deceptively fast, exactly. I'm a long strider.
Are you a Wes Welker type?
Yeah, the next Wes Welker. I like that one.
Gym rat?
Gym rat? I don't get that a ton.
Oh, you don't?
But, no, I don't get that one a ton. That's usually more for, the linebackers, I would say.
Okay. Heady player?
That's not bad. I think it's just, I like savvy. He's a savvy player.
Great route runner?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure-handed?
Sure-handed, yep. Reliable. I like that one.
Am I missing any? Because I don't know how people describe. All I know is you're going to have 1,000 yards again this year, and people are going to look at that and be surprised.
Yeah, well, it's the world we live in, man. You just got to smile and chuckle and go on about it. The funny thing is that if you call me that, then the other guy that's not white, what does that mean for him? So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
But is it a slap in the face to you, that you're sort of the way you're viewed, that you're doing this and it's somehow you're doing it with smoke and mirrors?
No, really it's not, because I really don't care. I mean, really that means the most to me is, there's some analysts and critics that I do respect and I do think a lot of, you being one of them, and really, but what's important to me besides them is my peers. So the coaches, the teams I play against, and the players I play against. That's what means most to me. So at that point, I really don't care. Like you can hear, I just laugh and just have fun with it too.
How much do the gloves help?
I think they do help. I think there's a certain extent, though. I think that I don't know. That's a good question. I think that it's just become part of the game, but I think they do help. I do a lot of work without them, and then kind of use them as it comes to game time.
Is it a performance enhancer?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if it is, because it's even across the board and it's regulated. So there's a certain amount of things you can put on your hands that they check for and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that everyone is accessible to them, I believe no.
It sounded like a sort of yes to me.
I know, it does, doesn't it?
The development of Ryan Tannehill. I said he out-Brady'd Brady on Sunday. Wait, what do you see with him from now to where he was when he first came in?
I think that overall, I'm trying to think. I mean, he's done a great job, and every day he does get better. Small increments are just continually adding up, and he's getting, he's getting better and better and better, and he's making more and more throws that he's comfortable with, and maybe he didn't make a year ago. I would just say overall, just his consistency level, because from day one he could really make any throw. He really is a born leader, obviously, to be in that position, and he's coming into his own. But it's just a consistency level that what separates people apart. I mean, everyone that's that's in this league typically can make most throws. It's just how often can you do it? Can you do it in the clutch times? And that's what's really just developing. Do
you guys even know your defensive back? Who is it? Mike Thomas, who had the pick on Brady at the end of the game? How
we know him now.
But did you know anything about him when you brought him in earlier in the week?
No, I really truly knew his name, and that was the end of it. There was a handful of guys that didn't even know his name.
Had you spoken to him before he played the game?
I might have introduced myself at the extent. I try to find a way to introduce myself to the new guys on the team, but that would be the extent of it.
Did you say, I'm the deceptively fast Brian Hartline, and your name is...
No, but I'm going to start using that.
Yeah, you should. Why not?
I will.
Yeah.
Deceptively fast Brian Hartline, yeah.
Do you know what you're...
They're like, I've heard about you. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, if you just said Brian Hartline, they may not know who you are.
Exactly.
You're deceptively fast. So you're on the verge of becoming the 5th receiver in franchise history. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, Irving Fryer, and Brandon Marshall. Do you know that?
It's pretty good stuff right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good company to keep. All right, well, don't screw it up against Buffalo,
in the end, though, it's amazing how things change and you kind of grow up. If you told me that probably 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, man, that is so awesome. To this point, and having the season last year and, getting fortunate with the contract and all that kind of stuff, all I truly care about, though, is being a playoff guy. I want to be a guy starting on a team that's making the playoffs. I think that means more to me than anything else.
All right, well, don't screw it up against Buffalo.
I know, I agree. Looking forward to the winter wonderland up there.
Well, you played at Ohio State, so you're ready to go. Do you go sleeveless?
I usually do the half sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not all the way there, but I think that in the end, it's a turf field, and that's really all I'm concerned about. If you think gloves are performance enhancing, are certain cleats performance enhancing too?
You tell me.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's an interesting
I
idea.
think gloves are. I don't think shoes are.
Shoes aren't? Okay.
Yeah. How about you go half shirt, half jersey?
Huh.
I mean, you're not afraid of the cold, and you send a message to that Buffalo secondary. You go
Man.
half shirt, like, belly
Yeah,
shirt.
send a message for like the first 10 minutes, then you're freezing.
Yeah, screw those messages. That's like when you see these linemen go out there with, no sleeves on, and you're going, oh, okay. Those guys get cold just like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and put a half sleeve on. You know what? Really, I do like the sleeve. I just don't like it when it touches the football because I feel like it gets a little more slick at that point when the football is being carried. That's really why I don't wear a full sleeve.
Well, good luck. Congrats on the season so far, Brian.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Brian Hartline, Dolphins wide receiver.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.